Laurel, Maryland right now. We're at the hotel where we're staying at. As you mentioned, we came in with the NAACP from Hillsborough County. On that bus, some folks ranging in ages from a 13-year-old girl who's in middle school all the way up to some senior citizens, all of them today down to the National Mall, listening to the speeches and seeing all of the activity, the thousands and thousands of people who were there to commemorate that 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, all of them taking all of it in. From the waters at the National Mall came shadows of struggles past, reflected in faces of a hopeful future.
It's a wonderful experience.
From Hillsborough County's NAACP, a group of young people taking in the day, talking over the gravity of this moment.
It feels amazing. It feels amazing. There are some people back at home that told me, hey, you're standing in my shoes, and I'm so glad to be here to fill those shoes for them as well.
As a young man, I'm 22, so 50 years from now, I'll be able to say I was at that march. I was at that march to promote change and to, try to stand for my people.
Like Josh and the others born well after the original March on Washington in 1963, today is a chance to be a part of history.
It's humbling. It's a very humbling experience, and I'm glad to see the camaraderie. I'm glad to see the unity that we're coming together for this, and I pray it lasts.
And it wasn't just a momentous day for the folks who weren't old enough to be in that original march. It was actually a chance for some others, like State Senator Arthenia Joyner, to write a regret. I ran into her along the mall. Were you here in 63 for the march?
No, I wasn't. I was a college student watching it on TV. I was in Boston.
You kind of regret not being here?
Absolutely. One of the biggest regrets I've had.
Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network sponsored the event. There were dozens of featured speakers. Each of the speakers who took to the podium just over my shoulder had 2 minutes to deliver remarks. However, Attorney General Eric Holder, who came out and gave remarks to a thunderous applause, spoke for several minutes and seemed to rally up this crowd. Martin Luther King III, Reverend Sharpton himself, as well as Representative John Lewis, the only living speaker to address the crowd at that original march, took to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, where 50 years ago this month,
I have a dream.
King delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech. And once the speech is concluded, it was time to actually march on Washington. Those who traveled to be here felt the weight of this moment.
It's needed, most of all. And what could you not be? How can you not? For all those that suffered and died for us to have the right to do this. Like my mother, I'm marching for not just me, but my whole family who fought the civil rights struggle. So I love it.
Now, there were some stark differences in this march than those in 1963. Those who came here, women played a much greater role in the march this year. There were a lot of speeches that talked about judicial injustice and talked about the Voting Rights Act of 1965, some of the actions that the Supreme Court took with regard to that. But I can tell you that everyone here came away with a feeling of just a sense of camaraderie and togetherness after this whole thing. And they also probably came away really tired, Josh, because there was a lot, and I do mean a lot of walking involved, and it did get a little warm at times.
Sure did, but still well worth it. All right, Rod Carter, thank you very much for that live report tonight from Laurel, Maryland.